Banu Abs. The Banu Abs Arabic, BNWBS, lit. Sons of Abs are an ancient Bedouin tribe that originated in Central Arabia. They form a branch of the powerful and numerous Ghatafan tribes. They still inhabit the Arabian Peninsula and North Africa, but have spread to many other regions of the world as well. Their descendants today include the large Bani Rasheed tribe located in Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Yemen, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Eritrea, and Jordan, and the Banu Rawaha located mostly in Oman and the UAE. Parts of the Mahas tribe of the Butana region in Sudan are also linked by blood to the Banu Abs due to intermarriage between the Sudanese Rashaida tribe and the Mahas peoples. Of the earliest stories concerning this tribe was the famous classical love and war story of Antar and Abla. Genealogy. The Banu Abs are of the northern Arabist Arabs, meaning they descend from Adnan. The Banu Abs line of patrilineal descent, from Abs all the way back to Adnan, is as follows: Abs ibn Baghid ibn Raith ibn Ghatafan ibn Saad ibn Kays ibn Mudir ibn Nezar ibn Mad ibn Adnan. They are related to numerous other Arabian tribes, being distant cousins of the powerful Quraysh, the Banu Tamim, and the Banu Kinana. The Banu Dubian and the Mutair are also descendants of the Ghatafan tribe, and are thus cousins of the Banu Abs. The Banu Abs are distant cousins to Mohammed, the final prophet of Islam, due to his direct descent from Adnan. The large and prestigious Rashaida people tribe is directly descended from the Banu Abs. History. The Banu Abs originated almost 2,000 years ago, branching from the Ghatafan clan and inhabiting the outskirts of Medina in modern Hejaz, an area called today Herat Bani Rasheed. The tribe is known for its independence and bravery, as it had been called one of the Jamarat of the Arabs, or the most powerful tribes that took no allegiance to anyone but themselves. The earliest stories regard tales of war and chivalry before Islam, in the famous War of Al-Dahas wal Gabra, between them and their brother tribe, the Banu Dubian, which had lasted almost 40 years. The war had ended when Zuhair ibn Jadhima of the Banu Abs had called for an end to the bloodshed, asking the wealthy merchants of both tribes to pay the losses caused by the war. Their traditions further recall 3,000 of them, repelling a Sasanian attack of 20,000. Absi traditions tell of their prophet Khalid ibn Sinan ibn Gaith ibn Murata ibn Maxim ibn Malik ibn Galib ibn Qutayya ibn Abs, who taught them biblical monotheism and the worship of God as Al-Ahad al-Samad prior to Mohammed. It was told that Khalid saved his tribe. Accounts differ on how, and that most men of the Abs rejected this prophet at the time. During the Arab conquests, some Absis remembered their prophet Khalid again. Others, like Ubay ibn Amara ibn Malik, accepted Mohammed as prophet and are now ranked as companions. Some Absis settled at Manbij in Syria, others at the Nile. In North Africa, one Kab, a close relative of Khalid, some say the son of his daughter, adopted some Berbers as clients and spread the word of Khalid amongst them alongside that of Mohammed. As Muslims, the Abs and some Berbers insisted on their veneration for Khalid. Some have claimed that Khalid prophesied the last prophet after him, who in Islam is Mohammed. Another tradition has it that King Zuhair had predicted Mohammed, but Zuhair is not called prophet for that. On Khalid's status, the Muslims have historically been divided. Other Arab tribes had either suffered false prophets, as the Asad suffered Chaleha, or, like the Ad and the Thamud, they received the preachings of their prophets, disbelieved, and were destroyed. Although some living tribes have claimed a rebirth from those dead tribes' surviving prophets, as Yemeni's claim of Hud. Also, if the Bedouin Khalid were accepted as a prophet between Jesus and Mohammed, this is constrained by Q 12:109, which insists that apostles must come from the towns. Antarah ibn Shaddad. Antarah ibn Shaddad al-Absi 525–615, or Antar al-Absi, was one of the 7 great pre-Islamic Arab poets and the protagonist of the great story Antar and Abla. Throughout this non-fiction story, he displayed chivalry. This earned him the name among all of the Arabs of the Peninsula as the Complete Knight. Furthermore, he was the author of the Divan and he was a warrior. His father was a leader of the Banu Abs tribe named Shaddad, and his mother was Zabiba, an African Abyssinian princess turned slave who was originally captured during a battle between the invading Banu Abs tribe and the ancient Abyssinian army, specifically the kingdom of Aksum. This most famous member of the Banu Abs tribe has had a cultural impact beyond Arabia, even into the modern era. A number of modern cultural artistic works are inspired by the warrior poet Antar. These include Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov's Symphony No. 2, which is based on the legend of Antar, as well as the first Palestinian opera composed in 1988 by Mustafa al-Kurd, of which Antarah ibn Shaddad was the primary subject. Role in Umayyad and Abbasid Syria. The Banu Abs gained significant wealth and property in Syria and influence in the Umayyad Caliphal court mainly through the marriage of the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik r. 685–705 to the Absi noblewoman Walada, the daughter of al-Abbas ibn al-Jaz ibn al-Harith, a great-grandson of Zuhair ibn Jadhima. Walada mothered Abd al-Malik's sons and successors al-Walid ir. 705–715 and Sulayman r. 715–717. Abd al-Malik granted estates to Walada's father al-Abbas and her first cousin al-Kaka ibn Kulayd ibn al-Jaz, including the massive estate. Al-Walid I granted further estates to al-Kaka near Damascus and Manbij and made him his katib scribe or secretary. The Caliph appointed another member of the tribe, Khalid ibn Bars ibn Kamil ibn Bars, governor of Jund Damashq military district of Damascus. Al-Kaka backed the abortive efforts by al-Walid I to replace Sulayman with his son Abd al-Aziz ibn al-Walid as caliphal successor. Al-Kaka's uncle Abd Allah ibn al-Jaz was a prominent dignitary in Syria, and al-Kaka's brother Hussein was a companion of Caliph Sulayman. Al-Kaka's sons al-Walid and Abd al-Malik, both named after their Umayyad kinsmen, served as the governors of the Jun's military districts of Kinisrin and Homs under Caliph Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik r. 724–743. Al-Walid and Abd al-Malik, al-Kaka's sons, played a role in the unsuccessful attempt to install Hisham's son Maslama as his successor over his nephew, the appointed successor al-Walid Roman II r. 743–744. A result, they were both tortured to death by al-Walid Roman II's governor of Kinisrin, Yusuf. Al-Walid ibn Kaka's son Thumama later served as a commander under the Abbasids, who toppled the Umayyads in 750 and led summer expeditions against the Byzantine Empire. His son Uthman became a semi-autonomous local leader in Jund Kinisrin in the aftermath of the Fourth Muslim Civil War 813–819. As late as the 10th and 11th centuries, the Banu Abs continued to occupy Hiyar Bani Kaka and the neighboring Wadi Butana Valley, as well as Hatir Kinisrin south of Aleppo. The tribe, like other old established tribes in Jund Kinisrin, had become largely sedentarized while maintaining their tribal structure and customs. The 1890 work of Guy Lestrange is a source of information on the regions once controlled or governed by the Banu Abs. titled Palestine Under the Moslems, A Description of Syria and the Holy Land from AD 650 to 1500. It was originally published in 1890 and includes translations from the works of medieval Arab geographers. As a collection of historical and geographical Islamic writings on Syria and Palestine, it makes mention of the lands of the Bani Abs, also referred to as Bani Kaka, or Bani Kaka, due to the descendants of the local Banu Abs from Al-Kaka al-Absi. Is mentioned as being a district in the lands of the Bani Kaka, lying a day's march from Halab Aleppo in the country near the desert of Kinisrin, and 2 days' journey also from the town of Kinisrin, sourced from Palestine under the Moslems, a description of Syria and the Holy Land from AD 650 to 1500 by Guy Lestrange, p. 455. In later centuries, at least some of the old Bani Abs strongholds were abandoned and left to waste. For example, a district called Qura al-Hiyar, as described by Abu el-Fida and translated by Guy Lestrange, is mentioned Qura al-Hiyar. The present time 1321 its lands are desert, and only wild animals live here. But it is mentioned in books. It took its name from Hiyar ibn al-Kaka. There camped the Abs, the Fazara and other tribes of the Arabs sourced from Palestine under the Moslems, a description of Syria and the Holy Land from AD 650 to 1500 by Guy Lestrange, p. 455. Modern era. The modern Banu Abs tribe is quite large and scattered across the region. Significant populations of this tribe can be found in Saudi Arabia, Palestine, Yemen, Sudan, Kuwait, Egypt, and Jordan. In addition, branches of the tribe can be found in the United Arab Emirates and elsewhere in the Arab world, as well as in Malaysia, Europe, the United States, and Brazil. Members and descendants of the tribe may carry the tribal name or some variation thereof. Culture. The modern Bedouins in Arabia value ancient Arab traditions including chivalry, honor, bravery, honesty, nobility, hospitality, and generosity. While the Banu Abs share such values with their tribal neighbors, they are famous for their unique tribal cultural values. In addition to the aforementioned Bedouin Moors, the Banu Abs greatly value very ancient traditions that are held in high regard. This helps distinguish them from the many other tribes in Arabia. The main branch of the Banu Abs tribe has succeeded in preserving their traditional dress, language, and ethics despite the westernization of some of their neighbors. The traditional dialect of the tribe is a form of Hijazi and Nejdi Arabic. Specifically, it is a mix between the dialect of the northern peoples of Hal, the standard Bedouin dialect, and Hijazi Arabic. The Banu Abs tribe has its own tribal emblem or symbol, which is a practice that is common amongst Arab tribes. This symbol has been lost to some branches of the tribe which settled in other regions. Branches of the Banu Abs located in other countries uphold their clan-based traditions, such as maintaining a clan head to whom all respect is directed and from whom tribal edicts are delivered, upholding traditional codes of honor and utmost family loyalty, and establishing and holding tribal duins. Maintaining and respecting family traditions is an important aspect of what differentiates members of the Banu Abs diaspora. At the same time, they have also adapted to their local cultures, incorporating traditions, stories, legends, foods, and music from the lands where they have settled. While the original Banu Abs have their own tribal emblem, many of the scattered branches outside of Saudi Arabia have developed their own independent tribal crests and flags to identify and take pride in their section of the extended family. Some branches of the tribe have also developed their own mottos, fables, and proverbs. It is a common practice for branches of the Banu Abs tribe to maintain private family genealogies and histories that trace their patrilineal lines from their modern members all the way back to Abs and Nan, Ishmael, Abraham, and ultimately to Adam. These private family histories of their ancestors also record notable details about historical members of the tribe. These histories can include dates of birth and/or death, mention of wars or battles participated in, various deeds done and honors earned, details of personalities and reputations, information on the crafts, trades, and businesses that the people engaged in, any peculiar or interesting causes of death, and other notable events or actions. Social work. The sheer numbers and widespread nature of the Banu Abs clan have contributed to the formation of various tribal organizations, divans, cultural groups, and charitable trusts. One example is the Abs Universal Organization for Social Development. This is a non-profit organization dedicated to social, cultural, economic, and humanitarian organization. It aims to improve the living conditions of Rashaida people, and in particular the Rashaida people in the Sudan, Eritrea, and poor areas. Also, it aims to raise the level of education and cultural knowledge for Rashaida people in the whole Arabic world. The organization includes some charities. The charities are going to build some schools and hospitals in some poor countries that are home to Rashidi people. The president is Mr. Fayez al-Ghali al-Rashidi. Secretary General is Mr. Mubarak al-Duwaila. Deputy of Secretary General Dr. Abdullah Saad Alawi Rafif. Descendant branches. Banu Rasheed. The Bani Rasheed or Rashaida peoples are the sons of Rashid al-Zal al-Absi. Rashid al-Zal was one of the Banu Abs tribe's most famous warriors, living in the 7th century. Afterwards, his progeny named themselves after him. The Rashaida peoples are currently located in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Sudan, Eritrea, Jordan, Yemen, Libya, Tunisia, United Arab Emirates, Oman. Al-Hubas. The Al-Hubas, or Habsi tribe, are one of the largest tribes of Oman. The inhabitants of this tribe reside in the eastern region of Oman and Ras Al Khaimah alongside the Shuhum. They descend directly from Banu Abs and branch into several other large tribes. Some of the most notable are the Jawaber al-Jabri, which is distinct from Bani Jabir of Yemen or Hamdan, present in other parts of Oman, Yal-Thanin, al-Mahara, al-Abdu, al-Adhaban, al-Gassasina, Bani Bused, Makadima, Gananima, Solam, Najia, and the Asira. Like their Central Arabian cousins, the Habsi tribe and its many branches are known for their courage, strength, and bravery. Mahas people. The Mahas people are a tribe that are descended on the matrilineal side from a combination of the Banu Khazraj of Arabia, of whom the Nasrid dynasty of Granada was also descended, and the Nubians. There is some intermarriage between the Rashaida peoples and the Mahas peoples of the Butana region in Sudan. Due to their intermarriage with the Rashaida peoples, some branches of the Mahas are partially linked to the Banu Abs tribe as well. It is unclear when exactly they intermarried and which full name they would carry, whether back to Adnan of the Rashaida and Banu Abs or Cotton of the Khazraj. Members of the Mahas that are descended from the Banu Abs are, by blood, technically a combination of Adnanite, Cottonite, and Asdite. Notable members. Pre-modern. Called Ibn Sinan, Ibn Gaith, Ibn Murata, Ibn Maxim, Ibn Malik, Ibn Galib, Ibn Qutayya, Ibn Abs. Khalid ibn Sinan al-Absi was a revered figure of pre-Islamic Arabia who is thought to have lived sometime between the 1st and 7th century CE. Historical accounts narrate that he was one of a line of prophets sent to the Arab peoples, beginning with Ismail and ending with Mohammed. According to some accounts, He was born 50 years prior to the year of the elephant, approximately 520 CE. He learned to read and write at an early age and attained a respected position in the judiciary among his people. He was a prominent writer on literature and jurisprudence. He also composed works about the Prophet Ibrahim, and he called on his people to abandon idolatry, alcohol, and the practice of usury or riba. He should not be confused with the companion of Mohammed of the same name, Khalid ibn Sinan al-Ausi, who fought in the Battle of Badr. King Zuhair al-Absi, a highly respected chief, and the king of the Banu Abs tribe during the time of Shaddad al-Absi and his son, Antarah ibn Shaddad. Shaddad al-Absi, the father of Antarah and Shabab. Antarah ibn Shaddad, perhaps the most famous member of the Banu Abs tribe, Antar ibn Shaddad was an ancient, pre-Islamic warrior poet. He was the son of an Abyssinian princess and a prominent member of the Banu Abs nobility, and a respected warrior. Shabab ibn Shaddad, the brother of Antar al-Absi, Shabab was said to have been Antar's squire. He was skilled with a bow and was known as a very quick runner. The manner of his death is disputed. Awa ibn al-Ward ibn Zayd al-Absi, a contemporary of the Prophet Muhammad who lived in the city of Medina during the reign of the Prophet of Islam. He was a famous poet of the Banu Abs clan. He has been portrayed in a number of Arabic films and television shows. Critical analysis and praise of his Arabic works has been common. Lived from 555–607 CE. His wife was Salma al-Ghafaria and his children were Hassan and Zayd al-Absi. Abu Malika Jarl ibn Oz ibn Malik al-Absi, a poet of the Banu Abs, who lived during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, Bakr, and Umar. His poetry has been praised by modern Arabic literary critics. Harith ibn Rabi al-Absi, also known as Abu Qatada al-Ansari, he was one of the companions, or Sahaba, of Muhammad. He participated in the Battle of Uhud in 625 CE, and he took part in the events of Hudaybiyah. He also took part in the Battle of the Camel in 656 CE, serving in the Rashidun Caliph Ali's forces. During this battle, he was armed with a bow and sword and wore a white turban while he served as a commander of a contingent of 1,000 cavalrymen. His wife was Kabsha bint Kab ibn Malik and his son was named Qatada ibn al-Harith. Yasser ibn al-Harith al-Absi, one of the companions, or Sahaba, of Prophet Muhammad. Ubay ibn Amara ibn Malik al-Absi, one of the companions, or Sahaba, of Prophet Muhammad. Isra ibn Masruq al-Absi, one of the companions, or Sahaba, of the Prophet Muhammad. He witnessed the Prophet's farewell address, and he and the majority of the Banu Abs tribe supported Abu Bakr after the death of Muhammad. He fought under the generalship of Khalid ibn al-Walid. He participated in the Battle of Yamama in 632 CE during the Apostasy Wars, in which a badly outnumbered Rashidun Caliphate army soundly defeated a much larger army of apostate rebels under the command of Musaylama. This battle ensured the survival of the Islamic religion just after the death of the Prophet Muhammad. He also fought in the decisive Battle of Yarmouk against the Byzantine army 636 CE. This historically critical battle, which is recognized as one of those that has greatly impacted the path of history, ended Byzantine rule in Syria and saw the Levant fall under undisputed Muslim rule, while also paving the way for future Islamic expansion in the Near East. He died in 644 CE. Abdullah ibn al-Mutam al-Absi, a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, participated as a commander in the Battle of al-Qadisiyah in 636 CE and in the conquest of al-Madin during the Islamic conquest of Iraq. Also fought in battles in Mosul and Tikrit. The history of al-Tabari, vol. Roman 12, the Battle of al-Qadisiyah, and the conquest of Syria and Palestine. Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. Hudhayfa died in 656 CE, was one of the Sahaba companions of Prophet Muhammad. Rashid al-Zul al-Absi, one of the Banu Abs tribe's most famous warriors, living in the 7th century CE. The progenitor of the Bani Rasheed tribe and the Rashaida peoples. Simak ibn Ubayd al-Absi served as the governor of the ancient metropolis of al-Madin in 663 CE, shortly after it fell into the hands of the Umayyad Caliphate. Yazid ibn al-Hur al-Absi commanded the elite forces of hand-picked soldiers or shurta of the Umayyad Caliph Yazid I between 680 and 683 CE. The Fourth International Conference on the History of Balad al-Sham during the Umayyad period, Proceedings of the Third Symposium, Volume 2, University of Jordan Press, Balad al-Sham History Committee, 1989. Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi, a prominent member of the nobility of Kufa, Iraq, who backed al-Mukhtar during his 686 CE rebellion against Umayyad rule. Khuzaymah ibn Nasr was a strong warrior, and he helped to contribute to al-Mukhtar's stunning success during the first battle of the rebellion, the Battle of Qasir in Mosul. Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi was captain of a cavalry unit under the command of the skilled commander Ibrahim ibn al-Ashtar. During a particularly decisive engagement in the streets of Mosul, al-Ashtar was confronted by 2,000 troops commanded by Hassan ibn Thaid ibn Bukayr al-Absi. These soldiers were sent by Abd Allah ibn Muti in order to intercept al-Ashtar and prevent him from joining the attack against ibn Muti elsewhere in the city. Al-Ashtar sent his cavalrymen under Khuzaymah's command, charging at the Umayyad soldiers while al-Ashtar came up behind the cavalry with his foot soldiers. The Umayyad troops suffered greatly from the cavalry charge and were put to flight. Hassan ibn Thaid ibn Bukayr al-Absi remained behind in an attempt to protect his retreating soldiers from pursuit. When Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi came upon Hassan ibn Thaid ibn Bukayr al-Absi, Khuzaymah exclaimed, "O Hassan ibn Thaid, indeed, by God, were it not for kinship, I know that I would seek with all my effort to kill you, but now flee." Hassan's horse then stumbled and Hassan fell to the ground. Khuzaymah said, "Bad luck, O Abu Abdallah." And he and his men surrounded Hassan and attacked him. Hassan fended them off with his sword for a time but was eventually felled. Khuzaymah once again stopped the attack and said, "You have a safe conduct, O Abu Abdallah. Do not kill yourself." Khuzaymah prevented his men from pressing the attack and he himself stood over the injured Hassan to prevent anyone from attacking him further. When his commander, Ibrahim ibn al-Ashtar, approached on foot with the rest of his soldiers, Khuzaymah explained. Ibrahim ibn al-Ashtar replied, "You have done well." Hassan's horse was brought, he was mounted on it, and then he was allowed to depart. He later died from his injuries surrounded by his family. Because of Khuzaymah's decisive cavalry charge, Ibn al-Ashtar and his soldiers were able to join the attack with the rest of al-Mukhtar's soldiers against Abdallah ibn Muti. Al-Mukhtar won a decisive victory in this battle because of this. Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi had a son named Nasr ibn Khuzaymah al-Absi who would also take part in a similar Kufa-based rebellion against the Umayyads only 54 years later, in 740 CE. Father and son both ended up killing a cousin of theirs on the opposing side during their respective conflicts. Sourced from The History of al-Tabari, Vol. Roman 20, The Collapse of Sufyanid Authority and the Coming of the Marwanids. Hassan ibn Thaid ibn Bukayr al-Absi, fought fiercely against al-Muqtar during al-Muqtar's rebellion against the Umayyad Caliphate, at that time headed by the Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan. Hassan ibn Faid ibn Bukayr al-Absi was a commander of 2,000 soldiers under Abdallah ibn Muti during the first decisive battle of the rebellion. Hassan was sent with his men to take on the skilled commander Ibrahim ibn al-Ashtar and to divert his soldiers from the beleaguered troops of Ibn Muti in the city of Mosul. Al-Ashtar sent Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi to lead a cavalry charge against Hassan ibn Faid's men. This charge was very effective and sent them into flight. Hassan ibn Faid remained behind to guard the retreat of his soldiers. Though he fought fiercely and bravely, Hassan al-Absi's soldiers were all killed and Hassan al-Absi's death soon followed. This was due to his insistence on fighting till the death and his stubborn refusal of an opportunity offered by his cousin Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi and the commander al-Ashtar to retreat in safety. After being struck down, Hassan ibn Faid al-Absi was carried away by his horse to Ibn Muti's soldiers. Hassan was taken to his family and he died shortly after reaching their presence. On his deathbed, he regained consciousness briefly and said to his family, "By God, I do not want to recover from this wound of mine. I do not want my death to be from anything but the thrust of a javelin or the blow of a sword." He said nothing more until he died. Hassan ibn Faid ibn Bukayr al-Absi died in 686 CE as a result of this battle with his cousin, the warrior nobleman Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi. Sourced from The History of al-Tabari, Vol. Oman 20, The Collapse of Sufyanid Authority and the Coming of the Marwanids and the History of al-Tabari, Vol. Oman 21, The Victory of the Marwanids AD 685–693. Qura ibn Sharik al-Absi. Qura ibn Sharik or Sharif al-Absi was the governor of Egypt in 709–715 CE under the Umayyad Caliphate. A Sharif from Kinisrin, he was previously the governor of his home province in Syria before being relocated to Egypt by Caliph al-Walid I. Abd al-Malik ibn Rafa al-Fahmi. Abd al-Malik ibn Rafa al-Fahmi was the governor of Egypt for the Umayyad Caliphate in 715–717 CE. Kab ibn Hamid al-Absi served as commander of the Caliph's household guard under the Umayyad Caliph Sulayman and his successor Caliph Umar Roman II between 715 and 720 CE. History of al-Tabari, Vol. Oman 24, The Empire in Transition. According to the cited source, after Sulayman's death, Kab assisted in the initial transition of power between him and his son, Umar Roman II. Hudhayfa ibn al-Awaz al-Absi ruled as the Umayyad-appointed governor of newly conquered Islamic Spain al-Andalus for a period of 1 year in 728 CE 1984. Ahmad ibn Mohammed Makari, The History of the Mohammedan Dynasties in Spain, extracted from the Nafuti min Ghosni el-Andalusi or Ratib wa Tariq Lisanuddin ibn el-Khatib, Volume 2, 665 up. Al-Kaka ibn Kilaid or Khalid al-Absi, he was a member of the old Arabian tribal nobility. His family became involved with the caliphate and imperial affairs after the Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan married Walada or Walida bint al-Abbas al-Absi, one of his cousins. He served as personal secretary to the Umayyad Caliph Walid ibn Abd al-Malik between 705 and 715 CE. The Caliph rewarded him by granting him the locality of Hiyar Bani Kaka near Kinisrin. The History of al-Tabari, Vol. Oman 28, Abbasid authority affirmed. The territory was named after al-Kaka and his descendants continued to control this territory for at least the next century, if not longer. He supported Caliph al-Walid I against his brother, Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik. Al-Kaka was the father of Walid ibn al-Ka al-Absi, and the grandfather of Thumama ibn al-Walid ibn Kaka al-Absi. Walada or Walida bint al-Abbas al-Absi, the wife of the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan, she was a member of the Banu Abs tribe. She was the cousin of al-Kaka ibn Kulayd, and she was the mother of the Umayyad Caliphs al-Walid I and his successor, Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik. Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi, a Sharif and Arabian general named after his cousin, Caliph al-Walid I, who lived in the 8th century and contributed to the initial wave of Islamic conquests in eastern Anatolia. Prior to his 737 CE raid against the Byzantines, he served as a soldier and general in campaigns in Armenia and Khurasan. In 737 CE, al-Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi led a successful summer raid against the Byzantines which earned him a governorship. He served as governor of Kinisrin 737–743 CE under the Umayyad Caliph Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik. After al-Walid Roman II finally gained power, he installed Yazid ibn Umar ibn Hubayra as governor of Kinisrin and had him seize Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi, his brother, Abd al-Malik ibn al-Kaka ibn Kulayd or Khalid al-Absi, and many of their immediate family members. They were all tortured to death 743 CE by Yazid on Caliph al-Walid Roman II's orders in retribution for assisting his political rival and helping to deprive him of the throne for almost 2 decades. He was the father of Thumama ibn al-Walid, Abd al-Malik ibn al-Kaka ibn Kulayd or Khalid al-Absi, brother of Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi. He was also named after a caliphal kinsman. He served the Umayyad Caliph Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik as governor of Homs province in Syria. Together with his brother, he opposed al-Walid Roman II's rise to power and actually helped ensure that Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik became caliph. They were tortured to death in 743 CE after al-Walid Roman II replaced Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik. Their opposition may have been due to the fact that al-Walid Roman II was not descended from Walada al-Absi and so was not a blood relative of theirs. Al-Walid Roman II remained in power only for a little over a year before he was killed in combat, and the Umayyad Empire was completely overthrown by the Abbasid revolution a little more than half a decade later in 750 CE. Thumama ibn al-Walid, Thumama ibn al-Walid ibn Kaka al-Absi, was an Arab general of noble lineage from Syria. He survived the purge of al-Walid Roman II and served the Abbasid Caliphate after the Umayyads were overthrown. He was the son of Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi and the father of Uthman ibn Thumama ibn al-Walid ibn Kaka al-Absi. He led the annual summer raids into Byzantine Asia Minor in 777–779 CE. In 778 CE, his raid was defeated by the Byzantine general Michael Lachynodrakin. The 779 CE expedition was also defeated, according to al-Tabari. After that, he was replaced by al-Hasan ibn Qataba. Uthman ibn Thumama ibn al-Walid ibn Kaka ibn Kulayd or Khalid al-Absi, son of Thumama ibn al-Walid, grandson of Walid ibn al-Kaka al-Absi, and great-grandson of al-Kaka ibn Kulayd al-Absi. One of the local rulers of Kinisrin in Syria, who used the turmoil of the Fourth Fitna in the 810s CE to become the virtually autonomous rulers of their localities. Nasr ibn Khuzayma ibn Nasr al-Absi, a member of the nobility of Kufa in Iraq, who backed the claims of Zayd ibn Ali, the great-grandson of Ali ibn Abi Talib and one of the imams of the Zaydiyya sect of Shia Islam between 738–740 CE. Zayd was the grandson of Hussein ibn Ali, who had also mounted a much larger earlier rebellion against the Umayyad Caliphate in 680 CE, 60 years previously, that was known as the Second Fitna or Second Islamic Civil War. Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi pledged his allegiance to Zayd and served as a captain of his forces. During a fierce battle in the narrow streets of Kufa between Umayyad forces and the badly outnumbered Zaydi rebels, Nasr engaged in one-on-one combat with his relative from Syria, Nail ibn Farwa al-Absi, who had sworn to strike him down. Nasr al-Absi dealt a death blow to Nail al-Absi, but not before he himself was mortally wounded in his thigh. Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi died soon afterwards due to his injuries. Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi was killed in 740 CE. Sourced from The History of al-Tabari, Vol. Roman 26. The Waning of the Umayyad Caliphate. Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi was the son of Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi, a member of the Kufa nobility who also backed a rebellion against the Umayyad government in the form of al-Muqtar's rebellion. Just as his son had, Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi had also faced his cousin in combat and killed him. Nail ibn Farwa al-Absi, a member of a branch of the Banu Abs tribe based in Syria, and a loyalist to the Umayyad Caliph Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik, now served as a cavalryman and captain in the Umayyad force of Kufa under the command of al-Abbas ibn Sa'id al-Murri, the head of the Shurta, or elite forces, of Yusuf ibn Umar Thaqafi, the Umayyad governor of Iraq. The large Umayyad force was arrayed against the much smaller force of Zayd ibn Ali, leader of the Zaydi rebellion. Upon learning that his relative Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi, a member of the Kufa-based branch of the Banu Abs tribe and a high-ranking member of the Kufa nobility, was supporting Zayd ibn Ali in his rebellion, Nail al-Absi swore to strike him dead. According to al-Tabari, Nail swore, "By God, if I set eyes on Nasr ibn Khuzaymah, I will surely kill him, or he will surely kill me." Nail al-Absi was then gifted a sword by Yusuf ibn Umar of such high quality, it was said to be a sword that would cut through anything it touched, possibly a Damascus steel sword. Nail ibn Farwa al-Absi engaged Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi in single combat in Kufa in a narrow street. Nail al-Absi struck Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi a mortal blow in his thigh. Nail ibn Farwa al-Absi was then struck dead in combat by Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi in retaliation. Nasr ibn Khuzaymah ibn Nasr al-Absi himself died of his injury soon afterwards. Nail ibn Farwa al-Absi was killed in 740 CE. Sourced from The History of al-Tabari, Vol. Roman 26. The Waning of the Umayyad Caliphate. Ali ibn Ziyad at Tarabulsi al-Tunisi al-Absi d. 799 CE Arabic. Libyan Zid LTRBLSY LTW and SYLBSY, more commonly referred to in Islamic scholarship as Ali ibn Ziyad or Imam al-Tarabulsi, was an 8th century CE Tunisian Muslim jurist from Tripoli. Mohammed al-Shaybani 749–5805 CE, the father of Muslim international law, was an Islamic jurist and a disciple of the Muslim scholars Malik ibn Anas, Abu Yusuf, and Abu Hanifa, later being the eponym of the Hanafi school of Islamic jurisprudence. Uthman al-Absi al-Kufi, he was a traditionalist, a Hafiz, a lawyer and historian, and commentator born in Kufa. Iraq 159 235 AH/775 849 C. Sourced from Review of the Muslim West and the Mediterranean, Issues 31-34, Association for the Study of the Humanities in North Africa, 1981. Mohammed ibn Uthman ibn Abi Shayba al-Absi al-Kufi, a famous Muslim Hafiz of the Banu Abs tribe who lived between 825 and 909 c. 210-297 AH. Born in the town of Kufa, Iraq, and died in Baghdad. Abd Allah al-Kasi, Abu Muhammad Abd Allah ibn Muhammad ibn Qasim ibn Hilal ibn Yazid ibn Imran al-Absi al-Kasi, was an early Muslim jurist and theologian. He died in 885 or 886 c. Al-Tufali Abu al-Abbas or Abu Ja'far Ahmed ibn Abd Allah ibn Hurayra al-Utbai or al-Kasi al-Absi died 1126 c. Nicknamed Al-Amat al-Tutali or the blind poet of Tudela, was an Andalusian Muwallad poet who composed in Arabic. City called Ibn Sinan al-Absi or city called Ibn Saunan al-Absi, a prominent Muslim holy man. The Algerian town in which he is buried is named after him. Abu el-Qasim Ali ibn Afla al-Absi, known by the name of Ibn Afla the poet, and also as Jamal al-Mulk translated as the beauty of the kingdom. He was a poet of considerable reputation, who lived in the 12th century CE, died 535 AH/1141 CE. He wrote eulogiums, satires, observances, and other poetry. His works focused on celebrating the caliphs as well as princes, governors, and other men of authority and position who had patronized his work. He also composed poetry criticizing those of station who snubbed him, celebrating his beloved, and commenting on the concept of beauty and ugliness. He had a home in the imperial capital of Baghdad, but is known to have traveled extensively throughout the Islamic Empire's many provinces, referring here to the Abbasid Caliphate during his time, and he received patronage, praise, monetary gifts, and recognition for his works. He composed a divan, or compilation, of his own poetry and other writings, including an introduction and a postscript, which is described as a middle-sized volume. He is reported to have died in his home in Baghdad on a Thursday, on the second day of the Islamic month of Shaban, at the age of 64 years, though his death is placed by some at 1 to 2 years later than this. He was interred on the west side of the Tigris River in the Quraysh cemetery. Sourced from Oriental Translation Fund. Abdul Aziz ibn Yusuf ibn Hassan al-Absi, a member of the Palestinian-based branch of the Banu Abs tribe, originating in Kibya, Palestine. Abdul Aziz ibn Yusuf was a member of the landowning Palestinian aristocracy. He left his family and sons behind in Palestine to serve as a captain in the Ottoman army during their invasion of the highlands of Yemen in 1872 c. He is said to have died there, however one account states that he voluntarily remained behind and started a branch of the Banu Abs tribe in the Yemeni highlands. It is worth noting that there are a considerable number of members of the Banu Abs tribe in modern-day Yemen. There is also a district and a town in Yemen, both carrying the name of Abs. Modern. Arwa al-Absi al-Jundi, one of the 2011 winners of Sheikh Amanal's Young Artist Award, an annual fine arts competition launched in the UAE in 2006 and designed to promote emerging young artists. Mohammed al-Rasheedi, Ph.D., is a member of the Kuwaiti National Assembly, representing the 4th District. Abbas ibn Habib al-Minawir al-Musalim, a former member of the Kuwaiti Parliament and a very influential political figure until now. There is an area in Kuwait called Al-Abbasiyah that has been named after him. Barak ibn Nasir al-Noun al-Aouni, a former Kuwaiti parliament member and one of the most influential figures in modern Kuwait. Ali ibn Salam al-Ajilan al-Dikbasi, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament and member of the Kuwait National Assembly, where he represents Kuwait's 4th district. He is a member of the al-Rasheeda tribe. He maintains a good relationship with Kuwait's royal family, the House of Saba. Mabrouk Mubarak Salam, Sudan's State Minister of Transport and Roads. This prominent and highly respected individual is the founder of the Sudanese Rashaida Free Lions and the leader of the Rashaida tribe in Sudan. Faraj Zaban al-Arbid, Kuwaiti parliamentarian. Fekra al-Rashidi, a famous Kuwaiti lawyer and politically active woman. Abdallah el-Bashir, member of the Rashaida tribe. Dr. Bashir al-Rashidi, a prominent psychiatrist. Mohammed al-Rashidi, a prominent journalist. Dr. Mustafa al-Absi, a prominent professor. Dr. Ahmed I. al-Absi, a prominent medical doctor and nephrologist in the United States. Trained and educated in Jordan and the United States, he holds multiple honors and certifications. Talal al-Absi, a Saudi Arabian football player who currently plays as a defender for Al Tawoun FC. Mustafa al-Absi, a professor of behavioral medicine and the holder of the Max and Mary Landau Pickworth Chair at University of Minnesota Medical School. Ali al-Absi refereed the first ever Qatar Emir Cup football match in 1972. Hassan al-Absi, born 1966, is a Saudi Arabian former cyclist. He competed in the individual road race and team time trial events at the 1984 Summer Olympics. Wadi al-Absi, prominent Kuwaiti businessman. Ayub Tarish Absi, famous Yemeni singer. Mr. Fayez al-Ghali al-Rashidi, the president of the ʿAbs Universal Organization for Social Development, a non-profit organization dedicated to alleviating poverty and improving the living conditions of the Rashidi peoples, primarily in Sudan and Eritrea. Dr. Maria Lúcia Absi, a Brazilian scientist and professor who holds a PhD in mathematics and natural history, and, over a long career, has authored and co-authored a large number of publications on the geology and ecology of the Amazon basin. She is part of the Instituto Nacional de Pesquisas da Amazônia National Institute of Amazonian Research in Manaus, Brazil. Kamel Absi, an accomplished, professional traveling photographer based in Brussels, Belgium. Ghislaine Absi, a prominent New York-based real estate agent. Ghislaine originated in Beirut, Lebanon. She is an active member of the Real Estate Board of New York and is a certified NIASR New York residential specialist and a CNE certified negotiation expert. Joan al-Absi, a skilled and talented poet and painter based in the United States. Publishes poetry under a pen name. Zayed el-Absi, an accomplished Egyptian cartoonist, illustrator, poster designer, and graphic designer. Dr. Minu Absi Jaghab, an MD and an infectious disease specialist in Bronx, New York. She is affiliated with Nassau University Medical Center. Dr. João Marcelo Absi, a Brazilian offshore surveyor and physical oceanographer based in Curitiba, Paraná, Brazil. Mohammed Absi, a Moroccan politician born in 1949. He was a Moroccan deputy and member of the Chamber of Representatives. Salam R. Absi, a Bahraini diplomat born in 1925. He was director of the Prime Minister's office in Bahrain 1976, ambassador of Bahrain to Jordan 1977-1981, ambassador to Iraq 1981, and as of 2008 was a part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He holds the Al Hussein bin Ali Medal. Ahmed Rashid Absi, a Bahraini administrator and diplomat born in 1931. the son of Rashid Absi. Zayed Abu Absi, a prominent Lebanese actor and director born in 1956. He teaches at the Lebanese American University in Beirut. Ahmed Saad al-Rashidi, Kuwaiti footballer currently playing with Al Arabi of Kuwait. Fahad al-Rashidi, Kuwaiti football player. He currently plays for Kuwaiti Premier League side Al Arabi. Fahad al-Rashidi, Saudi football player who plays for Al Reed FC. Fayez al-Rashidi, Oman national football team goalkeeper. He plays for Al Suwaik club in Oman Professional League. Nasser al-Duwaila, politician and member of the Kuwaiti National Assembly, representing the 4th District. Former army commander and member of the al-Rasheeda tribe. Youssef Absi is the current patriarch of the Melkite Greek Catholic Church since June 21, 2017.